After reading all the side effects of STDs, I don't think I want to have sex anymore. STD collectors of Reddit, which was your most memorable diagnosis and which is your proudest? Hey, welcome to another storytime. I'm Andrew, your narrator. If you enjoy the video, consider liking and subscribing for more dank storytimes. Thanks, let's start these stories. Gonorrhea in my throat in Vegas, they have slot machines in the air. Herpes in my asshole from a stripper in Denver, first and last ass licking for me. I just want to give a shout out to my bro who caught gonorrhea from a girl, got it cured, and knowing he definitely got gonorrhea from this girl went back and did it all over again. Quote the girl, "That's nasty, you didn't get that shirt from me." STD doctor here, really? One of my co-workers diagnosed granuloma inguinale this year. It's pretty rare to see outside of tropical climates. One of the complications of an untreated infection is auto-amputation of the penis. Not me, but a very close friend. I was home from university with a really bad mental health episode and was feeling, understandably, quite sorry for myself. Had a text conversation with said friend. "Hey, you still depressed?" "Yes, I am." "Wanna hear something that will cheer you up?" Sure, go for it. I have mouth gonorrhea. To this day we call them death breath, and although it didn't cure my mental illness, it certainly made me feel better for a bit. I'm a bartender by trade. Couple of years ago I contacted my first STD in the form of gonorrhea. I had never dealt with anything like that before, so I didn't realize the early warning signs. I went to work, and roughly an hour into my shift was when things got real, spicy. My dick was leaking this horrible white pus, and it burned like I had funked a jar of hot sauce and rubbing alcohol. So here I am running my ass off, waiting on tables and bar customers, and I am, behind my customer service voice, just in absolute agony. Every few minutes the pus would dry and glue my dick to the inside of my underwear, and then I would walk somewhere and it would tear off, magnifying the pain by 10 million. I eventually told my manager and basically told her, "Listen, I think my dick is about to fall off, I need to go," and I went to urgent care. Thank God they cured it. If I'm a collector, but I do have a fun story, I guess. When I was 18, I was married, number one, and noticed some problems, so I went to the doc who did a full workup. Turns out I had chlamydia. I told my then husband who went and got tested the next day. Cut to a bunch of confused drama since I had one partner who not only claimed to be faithful, but then accused me of cheating. Cute. 2-ish days later, his best friend, who was dating my then best friend, came over complaining how she gave him chlamydia. But was claiming to be faithful. Yeah. All of a sudden, her randomly coming by, that I knew of anyways, because she would leave stuff at my house, and my then husband would say, "Oh yeah, she dropped by looking for you, and must have accidentally left it," during times I suspected she knew I was at work, came flooding back into my memories. Now I know two things. You are dumb and gullible when you're young. And people are fun. I thought I had HIV once. I had recently been tested and got a text a couple of weeks later saying call this number immediately, so I did. It wouldn't go through. I tried again. It didn't go through. I had things to do, so I left it for a bit, and by the time I had finished it was too late to get through anyway. So, I googled the number. Little naive me clicked on the first result that appeared. The website was called AIDSmap. Alarms bells were ringing at this point, but I continued to scroll. The website gave all the spiel about the usual styes, etc. And then it had written, "If you think you have HIV, contact your GP immediately," and then this number that rang me a line down with nothing else alongside it. This is where I went into panic mode. I got on my cycle and bolted it down to A&E, trying to ring the person I last slept with. So I got a text. Man, I can't even say it. I got a text and it says funk. She was like, "You've got chlamydia?" I said with sheer worry in my voice, No, something more life-changing funk. What am I saying? I think I've got," and then I rode my bike over a curb at full speed, and it flipped me off. "I think I've got HIV." She brushed it off as if I was being stupid. I eventually got to the hospital and went to reception. "Hi, I think I've got," and then showed her my phone screen where I had typed it out. "Hold on a sec, I'll get someone to see you." That someone came and told me essentially that they couldn't tell me my results cause of confidentiality and the way they do it or something. However, they can check my DOB, and if a test shows up with it, then it would give me some sort of peace, and the likelihood of two people with the same DOB having a test done at the same time was low. I sat in this medical room, almost in tears, scared to death, worried about what to do. She walked in 10 minutes later. So, this DOB that I've checked, it doesn't have HIV, however, they do have chlamydia. Honestly, I jumped for joy with so much happiness. They kinda looked at me all weird, but I didn't care, I had chlamydia, and not HIV. Gay man checking in here. Okay, so many of us sexually active gay men who aren't in monogamous relationships take a drug called PrEP. It's an antiviral that has a 99.sombthing% effective rate of preventing HIV transmission. I recommend every sexually active adult who isn't in a monogamous relationship ask their doctor about it. Most insurances cover it, and it's even available for free if you are low income or don't have insurance. The actual drug name is either Truvada or Descovy, the newer version, less side effects. Now, I don't know if you know any gay men, but many of them are very sexually active. Especially us city gays. So, having been offered this drug that prevents HIV, many of the gay community abandoned condom use altogether. So now the problem is other STDs making a startling uptick in appearance in the community. So, having been on PrEP for several years and fairly confident with my selection powers of picking relatively responsible and attractive sexual partners, I recently had intercourse with a young chap or two. Let's say two. It may be more, but let's say two to not make me look like some common hussy. Now, as a gay man, I both give it and get it, if you catch my meaning. So one day I'm minding my own business working on the computer and feel a slight warm itchy uncomfortable tickle in the region of my manly brown starfish. I like to consider that region a well-maintained and tightly locked fortress of absolute strength and control. Its walls are rarely assailed, and its gates are open for very few. But here I was with what amounted to a strange discharge in those nether regions. At first I wrote it off as some weird stomach thing, but then a few days later it occurred again and I began to wonder. At the same time, what I thought might be an internal hemorrhoid started acting up. Blood when I wiped, itching and discomfort. I work out a lot and have a high-protein diet, so hemorrhoid was not new to me. They usually disappear quickly for me, so I figured it would just go away. I also decided to attribute the discharge to the hemorrhoid and call it a day, since in my mind, that was the easiest conclusion that meant I wouldn't have to go to a doctor and drop my trousers for him to stare at my all-brown sword sheath. An embarrassing proposition, to be sure. A couple weeks go by and things aren't getting better. Besides the bleeding and discharge, the itchiness is now keeping me awake at night. And the damper this has put on my sex life is beginning to bother me as well. I certainly wasn't hitting on anyone knowing I was out of commission with an oozy itchy, and who knows, maybe even fishy smelling taintal, not a word, but I like it, region. I can't get my nose around there, but I just assumed it smelled like fish. Don't ask me why. Finally I decided to go to the doctor. The combination of the lack of sleep and lack of sex has made me an uptight broody cunt, and I'm starting to yell at traffic and scream at my team in video games, mick off, thank God, things I normally don't do. So clearly this needs to be dealt with. Doc insists on peering into the abyss, so I drop true, and he presses on things with his gloved finger and tells me I don't have a hemorrhoid, I have an open wound back there. A small lesion. Get blood tests, lo and behold one of the aforementioned chaps has given me, drumroll and pause for required gay dramatic effect, syphilis. And the lesion on my castle walls is the likely infection point. So the good news is that it's easily cured with a very healthy dosage of penicillin. Thick needles, sore buttocks for days, would not recommend. The other good news is since I get a full complement of STD testing done every 6 months, it's a requirement when on PrEP, we know exactly when I was infected and know there won't be any damage done from if I had the infection for a long period. Syphilis is one of the rarer STDs, but it is making a huge comeback because of drugs like PrEP and the human reaction to their availability. Syphilis can do serious damage to the body and brain if left untreated. I get treated, the sore goes away, the discharge stops, 2 weeks later I'm right as rain. So the reason I post this here is to make others aware of how important testing is. Never delay it. Always take care of it. If you are sexually active, get tested regularly. Use condoms if that's your thing. Research PrEP. It's a great tool in our safety arsenal. Sure, posting this is a bit embarrassing to me, but I hope someone uses it as a reminder that we are all human, and all sorts of unexpected things can happen to us. The most important thing is knowing what those things are and acting appropriately and quickly to counter them. I always knew sex without a condom could possibly still expose me to an STD, but I dealt with it. The real danger here is not getting tested regularly. Make sure you are doing that. And if you're anxious about sex and STDs, keep using condoms. Thanks for reading my mortifying tale. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.